So 10 axed uMkhonto WeSizwe Party MPs are back in the Western Cape High Court today. Now they're challenging their expulsion from the party and removal from their positions in the National Assembly. The matter was postponed in August for both parties to file their response and opposing affidavit. Newzroom Afrika's Malungelo Booi will follow these proceedings and joins us now live from the Western Cape High Court. Malungelo, a good morning to you. Already we're starting to see the seats that they used to occupy in the National Assembly already taken up by new people, new members of the MK party. But perhaps remind us the arguments that were put forward by these 10 when last we saw them, which is that press briefing.
Well, perhaps let's start here, Naledi, what these 10 applicants are actually saying in their court papers. First, they cite the MK party as the first respondent and the Speaker of the National Assembly, Togo Didiza, as the second respondent in this matter. What they say then, they list in a chronological order, they argue their case in a chronological order, essentially saying that, you know, they joined the MK party after getting assurances that this was a democratic party that will follow the rule of law and the constitution of the country. And then on the 24th of June, that's when we saw them essentially being sworn in as the members of parliament representing the MK party. Then they say fast forward to the 7th of August this year. That's when they received a communique from the Speaker of the National Assembly. In that communique, the Speaker of the National Assembly had actually received a communique from MK party telling her that the applicants were no longer members of the MK party and therefore can no longer be members of parliament representing that party. Then these applicants are saying that, well, they don't understand why they have actually been removed as members of the MK party and also members of parliament for this party, saying that the party had essentially failed, Naledi, to communicate to them this, and they believe that the party's actions essentially are unconstitutional. That's why then they're challenging this matter here in the Western Cape High Court. Essentially, what they're saying is that the MK party itself does not actually even have a code of conduct for members of, for their own members, and saying that the party only has a draft constitution, and saying that in terms of the country's constitution, this party cannot just do as they wish, and that they believe that uMkhonto WeSizwe, in fact, by removing them without essentially adequately communicating with them why they're being removed from the party, they believe that the party has, in fact, violated the country's constitution. That's why then they want the party's decision to be set aside by this court. As you have already indicated, that we know that the uMkhonto WeSizwe has already, you know, put in new members of parliament. We're talking about people like Siyabonga Gama here, Brian Molefe, and Lucky Montana, who have already been sworn in. But what these members are saying is that their removal from MK party and also from parliament was essentially meant to accommodate people like Floyd Shivambu, who was from the EFF, who has since joined uMkhonto WeSizwe, and other members. They want that reversed. While that happens, Naledi, they're also saying they want this court, while this matter is being heard in this court, they want to make sure that parliament actually, they don't lose their benefits as members of parliament while this matter is being heard here in the Western Cape High Court. So essentially, they also want the Speaker of the National Assembly also, you know, roped in here to sort of like make sure that these members don't lose the benefits that comes with being a member of the National Assembly.
Yeah, and I do remember that when they last had that briefing just after appearing in court the last time, Malungelo, they did talk about many of them having left a full-time employment to be members of parliament. And one of the things that we heard as well from them, Malu, and perhaps we can touch a little bit on this, is how even as they explain the process of their, I suppose, resignation, if they will, from the party and from the National Assembly, they still continue to hold the former President Jacob Zuma in high esteem, right? They have not apportioned any of the blame to any sort of decision-making on his part.
Certainly, Naledi. In fact, what has actually been interesting, they're saying that when they joined this political party, it was because they received those assurances that, this party would be governed in terms of the Constitution. And they do have a lot of respect for former President Jacob Zuma. They don't speak ill of him at all. But what they're also, though, arguing is that there was no communication at all, whether written to them or verbally, about why they were being removed or why their memberships were being cancelled. Was being cancelled, and also them then losing those the salaries of being members of parliament. But what you also get to understand, Naledi, when you go through their papers, is that this is also really about bread and butter issues, because when you become a member of parliament, that comes with a salary, and now when you lose, when that is taken away, what then becomes of you? You become unemployed. And some people also in their court papers saying that they had in fact left their jobs to take up positions in the National Assembly to become members of parliament for the uMkhonto WeSizwe Party.
Well, let's see how things turn out for them in the Western Cape High Court. And we trust Malungelo, Booi, there to keep us updated as those court proceedings do kick off. All right.